All right, everybody, welcome to the January 13th, 2022 Madison County Board of Education meeting. I will call our meeting to order. This is actually my last meeting to gavel us in as the chairperson of the board. We're getting ready here in just a minute to nominate some 2022 new chairperson and a new vice chair. So just real quickly before we do that, I just want to tell you guys it's been my privilege and honor to serve as your chair this past year. Thank you all to my fellow board members and to Dr. Gillum and particularly to Ms. Jeannie Caldwell for helping this year to run as smoothly as it could. And I just thank you all for all of that. You know, we made a lot of decisions. It's been a challenging year, but we did what we thought was right and we did what was in the best interest of our students. And that's about all I can ask. And we accomplished quite a bit, but there's a whole lot more to do. So with that, let's move right on in, and I'm going to open up the floor to, I need a motion, or not a motion, I need an agenda at this time to entertain nominations for a new chairperson for 2022 for the Madison County Board of Education. Do we have any nominations?
I'll nominate Mr. Rupp.
Right.
I will second that nomination.
Okay.
As vice chair, I think moving into being our chairperson would be a great idea.
All right. Okay. So we actually don't need a motion, but
Oh,
so the
okay.
recommended motion, we don't need a second to the motion. The
Okay.
recommended motion is to nominate Mr. Brandon Rutherford for the chairman of the Madison County Board of Education for our 2022 calendar year. So do I have a motion for that?
So moved.
Okay, so we have a motion by Mrs. Coyle to nominate Brandon Rutherford. And do we have a second for that nomination?
Now I'll second it.
Now you'll second that by Mrs. Burford. All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, motion carries.
Congratulations.
Yeah. So now we are going to cease nominations to elect a board chair. So the recommended motion is to cease the nominations and elect Mr. Brandon Rutherford by acclamation for our 2022 board chair. Do I have a motion to cease the nominations? So moved by Mrs. Brock. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Mrs. Burford. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. All right. So Mr. Rutherford is now our 2022 board chairperson. So next up on the agenda is to nominate a 2022 vice chair. So I will entertain nominations for a vice chair. Do we have a nomination for such?
I can nominate Ms. Brock.
Okay, we have a nomination for Mrs. Beth Brock. Anybody else we want to step up? No? Okay. All right, so the recommended motion is to nominate Beth Brock for our vice chairman for 2022. Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion to nominate Ms. Brock.
All right, so we have a
Vice
motion
chair.
by Mrs. Burford to nominate Beth Brock. Do we have a second?
Second.
And a second by Mrs. Coyle. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. No opposed? Motion carries.
Congratulations.
Yeah, and then my final motion here is we need a motion to cease nominations for our vice chair and elect Mrs. Beth Brock by acclamation to be the 2022 vice chair.
I'll make that motion.
We have a motion by Mr. Rutherford, and do we have a second?
Second.
And a second by Mrs. Coyle. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. All right, so for 2022, we have Mr. Brandon Rutherford as your chair and Mrs. Beth Brock as your vice chair. And my term is over.
You did a great job, Lori.
We'll do some seat change.
Trouble over there.
How long till we get separated?
Everybody good? First, I would like to thank Ms. Cobb for leading us for this past year. You know, when we did this last year, we were still in virtual board meetings, and you did a great job, and I appreciate your leadership for last year. And second, I'd like to thank the rest of the board members. I appreciate your confidence in me and giving me this opportunity, so thank you all very much. Ms. Cole, would you read the vision?
I sure will. Madison County Schools, in partnership with the community, strives to equip educators and students with the skills to lead by example, develop and speak with a unique voice, and explore their academic curiosity to make a positive impact on our community and world.
Thank you, Ms. Cole. Next up on our agenda is recognition, and I think Dr. Gillum has something.
Yes, I do. January is School Board Member Recognition Month. So I have a proclamation here that we're going to read, and also we did this, the Madison County Fiscal Court did this same proclamation or similar one earlier this week, and we appreciate them. So I'm going to read this proclamation, then I have a certificate for each of you. So this is a proclamation honoring the members of the Madison County Board of Education during School Board Recognition Month, January of 2022. Whereas our community values a quality education as a vital step along the pathway to success for our children. And whereas Beth Brock, Samantha Burford, Lori Cobb, Becky Cole, and Brandon Rutherford contribute greatly to this community through their service on the Madison County Board of Education. And whereas these decision makers are responsible for maintaining strong, effective budgetary oversight, high standards for employment, and a safe, well-managed set of school facilities. And whereas these board members are serving our community with integrity, honor, and commitment to our children's futures. And whereas January 2022 marks Kentucky's observation of their contributions through School Board Recognition Month, therefore, I hereby proclaim the month of January 2022 throughout this community as School Board Recognition Month, and urge all citizens to honor Beth Brock, Samantha Burford, Lori Cobb, Becky Cole, and Brandon Rutherford for their service. And I have a certificate for each of you, and probably we want them to stand back there and get a picture. So, give this to each of you.
Thank you,
And
sir.
ask that you kind of join together back there.
Thank you, Dr. Gillum.
Yeah, I think right in front of that would be fine.
Do you want us to hold these or just a picture?
Whatever you all would like to do. Good? All right.
Is that it?
Yep.
All right. Next on the agenda is audience comments regarding agenda items. Do you have anything? Okay. Next is the consent agenda. These are routine agenda items that the board members are very familiar with. These are things we do every month. They include to approve the minutes from the December 9th meeting, to approve the claims, to acknowledge the superintendent's personnel actions, to approve the leaves of absence, to declare a technology surplus. This is something that we've added in. Mr. Ben Burnett, our Director of Technology, has asked that this be put in every month because it's such a large thing that we do. So it's kept breaking it up into each individual session. To approve the board's participation and actual expenses for KSBA and KASA 2022 events, to adopt the Board of Education 2022 schedule of meetings, to approve a shortened school day application, to accept the School Facilities Construction Commission's offer of assistance, to approve the Madison Southern High School choir trip to Ohio on April 21st, and to approve the Madison Central High School softball team trip to Florida April 2nd through the 8th. I need a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
I'll make the motion.
All right, motion by Ms. Burford. Can I have a second? Have a second by Ms. Cobb. All those in favor?
Aye.
Next up is our monthly reports. Next is our instruction report. Tonight we have Dr. Amy Smith with Reading Recovery Report. Welcome.
Thank you. It's great to see all of you again. You got this, Jeannie? All right. Jeannie is my wingman tonight, so thank you.
This is all of our
I know. What would we do, right? Okay, so thank you so much for giving me a few minutes. I appreciate it every year. but I want to say I don't know if I've ever appreciated it more than this year, because going back and preparing for this made me reflect upon last year, which was insane, but powerful in so many ways, and it actually helped me see some things that were positive in a way I couldn't when we were day-to-day trying to survive. So I appreciate that. We all do. Last year in Madison County, our kids served around 820, our teachers served around 820 kids. You see the asterisk because it was a lower number than the previous year, of course. But the reason for that is important and illustrates clearly part of the work that our reading recovery teachers did here last year to help school happen. Many of our intervention teachers, because of social distancing requirements and class sizes, they served dual roles last year, sometimes 2 and 3 at a time, not just purely intervention, running back and forth between a classroom setting and tier 2 and tier 3. But what I really want this board to know, Dr. Gillum knows, Dr. Hunter knows, is that when they were given that call, and it was basically, we need you to do this to make school happen for kids, our reading recovery teachers in this district never blinked. They never complained. They showed such a sense of team. It should make you proud. It made me really proud. So shout out to them for that, because it was a hard thing to do for all of us, but they did. Now, we have only 3 data slides this year, just sort of summarizing our outcomes. And I'll be honest, I've known Ms. Brock for a long time. Ms. Coyle, there were times last year that I was imagining standing here tonight thinking, how am I going to do it? Am I going to have to tell them we did worse? Like, I dreaded that. And across the year, I kept thinking, how am I going to explain it? How am I going to ask for grace? What if we don't do as well this year? I want to publicly apologize to my reading recovery teachers, because I should have had more faith and not worried. We didn't just not plummet. We did 1% better on our outcomes last year somehow than the previous year. Not that there weren't challenges and things that we want to do better, but we should just never worry about that with them, because they do heroic, incredible work in whatever setting they are, even when running back and forth between a classroom and grabbing a kid during your lunch for reading recovery. When you look at this chart, it shows you the status outcomes for our reading recovery kids last year. That big blue chunk are kids that were served for 12 to 20 weeks, first graders, of course, that by the end of their programs, they're totally caught up or beyond. 71%, it's mind-boggling. But that red swath, too, is another positive outcome in our data from last year. That 10% of kids in that category, what that shows you to be called progressed is you made huge accelerated gains, but you were this close. At the end, not quite grade level benchmark, and we want to keep ourselves very honest about how we present our data. But the thing that's important about that is when you're in that red swath, even though you're quantitatively this far from where you hope to go, you have made incredible progress, and you have a system for literacy, for reading and writing, that you can go back into the classroom and succeed in your class without all this help. Because ultimately, our goal is to keep kids. We love our kids, but we want them with us for as brief a time as possible. They need to be in that classroom. So once again, last year, on the whole, our Madison County Reading Recovery teachers did amazing. And for perspective, once again, we did better than the nation. Now, to me, learning to read, these are children, it's not a competition, but it is important. We want to be the best here for ourselves and for our kids. And as you can see, we surpassed the nation in that totally caught up category by a wide margin once again. Just a testament to some really incredible work, as always. Now, the last data slide I want to show you, usually this is the one where I do a lot of sort of but and also, and next year we're going to. This is the one this year that perhaps more than any other shows what our teachers did last year for those kids that struggled the most in first grade. This shows the text level growth, and the text level is the most important indicator we use in early literacy to tell us if kids are caught up, because it means I can give you a book on this level, and with little or no teacher support, you can succeed in my classroom. That's why this is so crucial. And if you look at it, it's 3 different student groups. That blue line is the reading recovery kids that we started serving in fall of last year. The red line are reading recovery kids that showed up in our radar in fall, but we didn't get to pick them up until the middle of the year. So red and blue are reading recovery kids served at some point in the year. That yellow line is what it looks like to be a typical first grader that doesn't need any help. So as I have, mentioned last year, obviously, reading recovery kids, they're with us because there's a gap at the beginning of the year, as you can see, between the yellow line and both cohorts. We always take the lowest children first, and that blue group in the aggregate did come in lower than their peers, so that's why they got the first round of service. If you look at that blue line only now, between that first data point in the middle of the year, that rate of growth is astronomical in any sense of the word. Thinking back to last year, it's incredible. Not only did they make that rate of growth in 12 to 20 weeks, but they did. That 14 was the benchmark for where they needed to be. And look at the yellow line. Our kids actually, on average, that started that low, compared to the national average, our reading recovery kids here that we served last fall ended up significantly higher than the average first grader who wasn't struggling. So to me, the most important part of that blue line is what happened after that 14 now. Because the story there is that's once we gave them back to their classroom teacher and said, let's do this. And the classroom teacher alone helped that child continue to make progress without all the need for that extra support. That second part of that line is after us. And to me, that's the story. That right there is telling the most powerful story about our Tier 3 intervention services in Madison County, over and over and over. I think that red line, though, I want to point out, it might actually tell that story with a louder voice. Because if you look at the first data point on the blue and red line, notice that those red kids that showed up on our radar in August, needing help too, they were just high enough to not get picked up, but because of COVID, we had fewer slots to offer in that first round. That's different now, but last year that was the reality. And so the first part of the line for the red group of kids, that was the progress those kids made without Tier 3 intervention on their own. And if you look at the slope of that line in the middle of the year, what is, devastating about it is by the middle of the year, their classroom teachers were working their hearts out. And yet these kids were really, really in need of support. And so by the middle of the year, that, I can't see the number from here. I'm going blind, I'm getting old, 3.9. That, at the middle of the year in first grade, is lower than what we wanted them to start at the beginning of first grade. But look at the second part of the story, because I wouldn't have included it if it was all bad. The beautiful part of this story that tells the story of Madison County is the second part. Because by the time they got picked up by the reading recovery teacher in the second round, the slope of that line is even more significant than the first, and that group of kids, too, ended up on grade level benchmark. This data is such a powerful testament year after year that we're proud of, perhaps no more than we were last year, because these were teachers that were under stress just like our classroom teachers. But it's not the only positive thing that happened last year. And it's funny because Randy Neely is usually here and he usually gives me grief about going too long. So I had 8 positive outcomes, cut it to 2. So here we go. I'm going to finish fast. In particular, for this board and for Dr. Gillum and for the district administration, one of the most powerful, important things that happened last year was summer school. I am grateful. We are grateful that you made that money available. I was the first one in the door to Starla Brown saying, can I teach this? Because it meant so much to me for this reason. Reading recovery teachers, myself included, we have the privilege of years of training and time and coaching to develop this expertise. And if there was ever a moment we were built for in reading recovery, it was last year in summer school. And I want to tell this board, the vast majority of our reading recovery teachers stepped up, tired as they were, and went into battle there and did incredible work for their kids, deep into the summer, and it made us all very proud. But the other thing I wanted to tell you about summer school was it benefited the teachers too. Not only giving us a moment of catharsis and hope, which it did, but giving us a space to try new things, to explore new processes, and chief among those, Angela Gabbard, who's here at District Coach, she and I taught together on the same team at Kirksville. We tried all kinds of things around Tier 2 processes that we actually found worked better. And at the front end of this year, Dr. Hunter and Ms. Carter and the district coaches and the building interventionists have helped us put some of those things in the place for the betterment of all of our kids. The last thing I want to say about last year is that I was worried it would deplete everybody to the point of, by the time we got back this year, we would just be like this. That was not the case for our reading recovery teachers. They're a pretty intense group anyway, by nature, but they walked in with a sense of urgency and determination that I don't know I've ever seen in my life. And as the time I'm standing here with you tonight, I will tell you, we had more first-round kids, more reading recovery kids exit before Christmas than we have ever had, ever in my memory. And it is truly due to this sense of purpose and urgency that our reading recovery teachers brought to the task, but also that they really reconnected with that strengths mindset that is our community. Wherever the kids come, we're going to, meet them there. So I am grateful to all of our reading recovery teachers, to the district coaches, to all of our administrators, mostly, always to this board for your support, allowing us to do this work. It is a privilege. I consider it so. I'm happy to answer questions if you have them, but thank you.
So it's no secret that I'm like one of the biggest fans of reading recovery ever, and I'm not surprised. I'm not even remotely surprised. All of our teachers stepped up last year, and you all, that's incredible.
Unbelievable.
That is incredible, and the lasting impact that is going to have on our students is mind-boggling to me. Reading is such a core thing that will, it changes the trajectory of their entire life, not even just school, their entire life. And you all, you get all the praise and thanks. We really appreciate you. You're doing an amazing job. Amazing.
It takes the team. Didn't we learn that last year, like every one of us? And we are so grateful for you all, too.
And they have a really good leader, and so we appreciate
Yes. I love your passion. It's incredible. I agree with that.
Thanks.
We all agree with that.
Hey, I didn't cry this time, though. Often I do, so thank you. What? Thank you all very, very much.
We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Next up, we have our construction report. Mr. Thomas isn't here, so I think Dr. Gillum is going to give us an update.
Yes, I will go through, Tony Thomas did send, he's quarantining tonight, so he did send his PowerPoint with a lot of pictures and so forth with just a quick update, so give Jeannie just a second to bring that up, and we'll kind of go through it. The first several slides, we'll start with the Ignite Academy North Campus and just go through some photos there of the progress. You can see the front lobby, or the front of the building there, moving on down, another view on down. Just some exterior views. That, it's hard for me to see sometimes because that thing. But I think the next one, go ahead to the next one. And yeah. All right. So again, you all have been out there. You've seen. So this is just kind of an update of where we are with the construction. The timeline is the same as what it was before. They're officially on schedule because they had several weather days, but on schedule is still quite delayed from what we had initially hoped for.
And that is March?
Probably the end of March for substantial completion. Then we have to get our certificates of occupancy.
Right.
So
Okay.
yeah. And so there's the rendering of the latter part. Then we'll go to the Ignite Academy South Campus, and you'll see photos look very similar to the other one, even though construction started a few weeks later. Of course, the sequencing and the weather, because of the sequencing there between those two, they were able to make progress on the one on the South Campus at a time whenever they were not able to make progress on the other one because they were doing different work. But just flipping through those, you can see a lot of similar looking photos. And we will probably, right now, we're probably about a month behind the Richmond Center.
It still just keeps amazing me every time I go by it. It looks bigger.
Yes.
It's bigger
Yeah.
and bigger.
Yeah. it's a
You
large
see it
facility.
further away even. It's, I
Yeah.
don't know if somebody's chopping
Yeah.
something down.
The
I
brick,
can
the
see it.
brick really defines it and makes it
Yeah.
look so much more
It's
extravagant.
nice.
Yeah,
I
and
know
they,
Beth and I talked about wanting to see it from the bypass.
That was always a concern.
yes,
was.
it's not a concern anymore. Yeah, you can
It's
certainly
there.
see it. And initially, they had a lot of dirt piled up there because of that, and they've gotten rid of some of that and continued to remove some of that dirt, so it's more visible. All right. Any questions on either of those two pieces?
You know, in our high schools, they're still working on the programming, we're going to have introducing the kids to what's going to be available in the fall. stuff like
Yes.
that, ball rolling.
Yes, we do, absolutely. All right, then move on to Clark Moore's, and I think what we refer to as the 8th grade wing, which is the back wing. We've completed that, we're just waiting for a few inspections, and we're going to flip that, meaning we're going to actually move classes into that. And these first few slides right here are just pictures of that work that is now complete on that back hallway. And you can see the doors right there. All of the wood grain doors, we're replacing all of the doors throughout the building with those wood grain doors, which means it's a nice, clean look, but also we don't have to continue to repaint those all the time, which is always a maintenance issue. Yeah, you can see the weather that we had to deal with there for a few days on that. But yeah, the one piece, that photo right there, you can see that's you can see the block at the bottom, and then the metal studs going up the sides. We're adding that's where we're adding the insulation. We'll brick over that, so we'll get additional insulation value. The next photo there, that's out the back of the cafeteria, where we're going to be putting the new freezers and an additional storage room. The next photo there with the big red wall, that's where we did have the stage in that cafeteria. So I was in there the other day with Mr. Sexton and a couple of other people on staff, and they were just commenting about how large the cafeteria was going to be once we took the stage out, and we also took the one room. If you remember, as you walk in there, there was a room as soon as you walked through that took up a large portion of the cafeteria. We've taken that out and expanded that cafeteria, so the dining area, so it's much nicer. The next photo there, that's the building out by the athletic facilities. Making good progress on it. The next is a slab that's poured for the band room and additional classrooms, so we're coming along on it. So progressing well at Clark Moore's. Everything seems to be on schedule there. They've got a lot of work to do once school gets out. There's several phases of the construction. They're trying to get ahead right now with that construction piece, and are making some progress as far as getting ahead. So we're in good shape there. The next one is the Dugout Project, and you can see, again, just some pictures of scaffolding and concrete block and some footers. Everything is going well there. Our contractor on that jumped in and immediately began work, trying to get that in prior to the winter weather setting in. So good progress there, because we have to have that.
They're there
We need to have that
early.
one. What's that?
They're there early in the mornings.
Yes,
see
they
them.
are. They're,
Yes.
yes. And of course, it is a little simpler project because they don't have the mechanical pieces. You don't have all of the plumbing and all of the HVAC issues. And materials are pretty easy to come by on that side of things, just scheduling the concrete and getting the concrete block and the brick in, as opposed to waiting on HVAC, air conditioning units and those types of things, which are slowing progress on the other pieces. So that is the Dugout Project. Any questions on it at all? It's going well. All right, the next one is actually kind of a presentation piece that we'll be looking at here in just a second. We're actually need to take action on. This is the revisions to the Phillips building. And we have the picture right there. That one and the one previous. That's the changes that we're doing with the building. You all have approved those. We've sent that off to Frankfurt. Now all of the storage spaces and so forth. Do we have any questions or any comments on any of that piece? Because the next one is when we look at the actual site development. That's one we need to take a look at. And you all will need to take action on it here in just a minute. So, Jeannie, go on to the next slide. Right there. So this is the overall campus area of the Phillips building. So beyond the building itself, we'll start down at the bottom. You can see the main building there. It's kind of the dark pink. Notice we have it labeled there where it says Tech Center. That is the Tech Center that currently exists. And the rest of the, if you look just below that, there's an outline of what is currently the Phillips building. That's the part that comes off. That's the part we're going to tear down. And we'll have a wall there that ends with the building. We've talked about that several times. The Tech Center will get a new face, and the face of it will now be facing that parking lot. We'll get a new entryway. So if you've been to the Phillips building, to that tech building, if you go down to the bottom of that tech center, we have a training facility or a conference area room, a large room down there. You will now enter that portion, the tech building, from the parking lot that will be in front of that. So when we do trainings and so forth, that parking lot down there will be very nice to be able to have. We're just going to brick a facade across there so it has a nice look. The top part of it where you currently enter is still there. A lot of the tech staff will still come and go out of that parking lot, up that ramp and so forth. But we're tearing that part of the building down and replacing it with parking lot. Then in the rest of the parking lot that currently exists, we are going to rework that. You know, we've got some issues where it comes in off of 3rd Street there. We're going to try to cut that bank down a little bit. We've got 2 or 3 undulations in the parking lot and in the grounds around. We're going to try to level that as best we can. So our sight lines coming and going out of that parking lot will be good. And then repaving that area and moving we have a band practice area that is currently on the back part over there where we are currently showing a new soccer field. So what we want to do is move that band practice area on down with with a repaved parking lot, and then on the back, what is the north side of that, put in a new soccer field for Madison Central. Now, currently, we're using the one over at Bellevue, and we're looking at moving away from that Bellevue property. And this would give us that opportunity right there. The soccer field, as you can see it, we've widened it out so it actually has like a practice area on the side. So our teams would be able to have 2 practices going at the same time, utilizing that, going opposite of what you would typically go in a game situation. So that's the design for that. What questions do you have? That's the schematic plan. What questions do you have regarding that?
What type of soccer field are we looking at turf? Are we looking at?
Right now, we're looking at just a natural grass field, but we will explore that. The actual cost of turf when you're doing a new field, when you're already doing all of the grading and everything, is not that much more. So we're going to turn this in. We're going to get some estimates, and I would suggest that when we put it out to bid, that we do turf as an alternate bid on the overall bid package, and so we can see just what it would cost doing a natural grass versus a turf field, and make that decision then. Yeah.
So between the soccer field and the lot,
Yes.
there is that concession stands?
Yes, so you've got 2 things there. One, you've got a concession stand building. It's going to be similar to the one we have at Clark Moore's. Okay, and then we have a bleacher area right there. Yeah, and so that will help block. One of the things that we're concerned with is, if the band is using that lot right there as a practice area. First of all, we've turned the soccer field and the band practice area opposite of each other. So the soccer field's over here playing this way. The band would be, their noise would be blowing the opposite direction. And then we've tried to use those 2 things as a buffer.
So the only restroom facilities that the band used to have was like this old trailer that was up there. Are they going to have access to those
Absolutely,
restroom
yes.
facilities
Yep.
during
And
band camp?
during band camp and everything, they'll have access to that right off of that parking lot / band practice area. Yeah. So it should be a very nice improvement for for our band. Mhm.
And one more.
Yeah, sure.
We also park all the CSET buses
Mhm.
there. Are they still going to stay in that lot?
So, well, obviously, it's going to take a little while for this construction to take place, and we will likely start on the main building, so we won't do a whole lot of work back there for a while. And the CSEP program, the CSEP buses are going to phase out pretty soon. So, if we have an overlap in the two, then we'll address that when it comes to it. But we do have to keep those somewhere on the campus. And we do have some areas on the backside of Madison Central Campus where we might be able to locate those. So we have several ideas on that, and we just have to kind of see what the timing and the phasing and everything else comes about.
You talked about the band being able to store their equipment. Is
Mhm.
that
Yeah, so.
position?
No, actually, what we are looking at doing, if you look at the main building, the main building, if you look at it on the top side, the north side of it, you can see a little blue square right there. That little blue square is actually designed in as a salt area for us to store salt. Just to the, if you're looking at that, just to the left of that or to the west of that, currently is our ATC. We have electricity and we have, what's that? Yeah, carpentry and electricity programs are in there, and they're large storage, or the large areas that are kind of like warehouse type things. Our plan right now is to allocate some of that space to band storage, so their storage would be right there in a good, secure facility, being able to roll it straight out onto their practice field. Yeah.
And they can put like their trailers.
They should be able to store trailers and other things there. And, we're looking at some other things that aren't really shown on the schematic design, but some gating and some other pieces around the facility that will clean it up as best we can. I mean, it's still an old, industrial complex, but we're going to clean it up as best we can and also make some areas where we can safely store some things. So, yeah.
I'm glad to see the site excavation piece of trying to grade some of that down up there on Third Street, because that is really dangerous when those kids try to pull out of it and it's,
Right.
Yes.
and it's really dangerous, so I'm
New
glad
drivers.
we're gonna
Yeah.
level that out.
Yeah.
That's a lot of dirt there.
It is, and it's a big project, but it's going to be a nice improvement, not just to that, but to the entire, one of the things you have to look at there is, we have an elementary school that butts right up against that, and so that parking lot that we're talking about driving through right there, that is, that's the egress for Daniel Boone Parent Pickup. So, obviously, when we do this, the project grows, and it's more of an investment, but at the same time, it's not just an investment in our maintenance, in a maintenance facility. It's an athletic piece, it's a parking lot, it's to assist with our band programs, to improve the campus there of an elementary, and then also Madison Central Campus. So, we have a lot of facilities right in that little area right there, and this is almost in the center of all of them, so.
I like the fact that we're bringing the soccer field over to Madison Central's campus, so kids will actually be able to stay on campus for sporting events.
And we get a lot of complaints
Yeah,
about
I think
the
that's a
soccer
huge
field.
safety piece also.
more of a cow pasture.
Well, we
I
have
do
such
have a
big
couple of
s-
questions,
sure.
too.
Go ahead.
In our talks of this, I can't remember are we getting the soccer, like the team, are they going to have some shelter? Like if it's from the sun or the rain? Like baseball has the dugouts. I didn't know if they're going to have dugouts.
Okay, yeah, I mean, we don't have it necessarily designed on here, but,
Okay.
the current facility has the little dugout areas.
Okay.
And, at Madison Southern, we have the little shelter with it, which is just.
Right.
It's just nothing more than that. It's a little.
Yeah.
It's just a little covering there that they can get under. So we'll address that as we go through, as we get a more specific design on that.
Okay.
Yeah,
I couldn't remember.
it depends on what, what is preferred, whether it's the actual concrete block building or it's just a metal awning, or, they actually have portable pieces like that are built, that are designed. If you watch an MLS soccer game, those are the things that they use on that World Cup. They use a portable, kind of a clear plastic awning thing that goes over the
And they're gonna have
benches.
storage somewhere too? I mean, I know.
Yeah, I mean, that building that you see right
Right,
there,
with the
that's a
concessions.
concession area. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be very similar to the one at Clark Morris. Yeah, similar to what they have right now at Bellevue.
And you know I always say it,
Yes.
it's more than one bathroom, right? We're having multiple bathrooms. I say it every time we build something.
Yes, and as we get, once this overall schematic is approved, then you all will have actually approved the schematic design for that
Okay.
building. Yeah,
And
but
then
yeah,
my-
that's the intention.
My final question is,
Yeah.
there's that fence down there by the tech center
Mm-hmm.
that goes down that street. I didn't know if we're taking that fence out. I mean,
On-
it's torn up that.
Okay, which street are you talking about? Third Street? Because we have fence all the way around this
Yeah,
place
true.
at some point, so.
No, it's the side street between Home Lumber
Okay.
and Tech Center.
Yes,
And it goes like this.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
You'll have to grade that a little bit.
yes, there is some grading all through there. Yeah, to an extent. We will still, that area, that parking lot that is shown right there, will still be below the street level.
Oh,
It will go
okay.
down. Yeah, there is not a turnoff of the street down into that parking lot. You have to go off of Third Street to get into that parking
So
lot.
are we tearing down that fence? Are we getting new fence? Are we?
I believe we will probably eliminate that fence.
That's what I
Our
thought.
desire is to
It's
make
got
this whole
holes
thing
and
look nicer,
It's
yeah.
torn up.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
When it gets closer, you get more details.
Right, sorry.
Yeah,
We're
but,
detailed now,
yeah.
kind of people.
That fence will not, I will tell you this, that fence won't be there. Either we
Okay.
will eliminate a fence altogether if it's not a security issue. If it is a security issue, we'll put up new fence, yeah. That is certainly the intention there. Other questions?
All right,
No, thank you, Dr. Gillum.
thank you, Dr.
Absolutely.
Gilman. Okay, moving on to our action agenda. We'll go to 8A. We have our CFO, Mr. Mark Woods, with our finance reports.
Good evening.
Good evening, Mark. How are you?
Fine, how are you? All right. We'll start with our bank reconciliation. And as of December 31st, the district ended with a reconciled balance of $98,444,365.77. Again, you can see it's up. We have so many construction projects going. We're holding construction funds. And of course, it'll go down as we continue to build out and complete projects and get more in line with what we had. At this time last year, we had received our first bonding money, so that's why it's caught up quite a bit. You will see as we spend it out that the comparisons will start going the other way. Instead of our current balance being higher as compared to the prior year, it'll start going the other way because we had bonding money come in. I think our first bonds hit in December of last year. Of the reconciled balance, the district has $5,740,990.65 in investments. The rates are 0.15 to 0.55, so yeah, they're just great. We're not putting any more in investments right now. I mean, it's just, it doesn't benefit us. We just keep it liquid and keep it in our overnight sweeps. And you know, our overnight is earning almost as much as our lowest CD. So, and that we can spend the money every single day if we have to. So we don't have any time constraints on that. So I prefer for now just to keep it there. And the only things that are out there that's been pitched are going into open markets and securities, and that's not a market that I think we need to go into. Because of the dangers that fall in that. So I think we're doing well for where the rates are right now. Also in your packet, you had the revenue and expense report for December 31st. I've looked through it. We're on target with our expenditures. I did pull our property tax as of yesterday. We're 95.2% collected. Compared that to a year ago, we were 93.4% collected in January. So we're on target. Collections have picked up a little bit. We're still lagging in there, it's in franchise tax. So that's kind of where we're lagging. Those usually start to pick up usually by March, April, we start getting more in that. So, any questions on the monthly financials?
Questions? All right, can I have a motion to approve the monthly financial reports as presented?
Second.
This motion made by Ms. Brock, second by Ms. Cole. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passed.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mark, appreciate it. Next up is 8B, is to approve the revised BG1 Phillips building. I think that's what Dr. Gillum just went over. Anything else?
Yeah, I just went over the schematic plan, and so the BG1, you can see it there. We did adjust the amount on the BG1 to reflect, prior to our initial BG1 was just simply the building itself. The new BG1 reflects all of the pieces there that we have discussed tonight with the additional field, with the additional, and all of the parking lot pieces as well. Any questions on that?
Could I have a motion to approve the revised BG1 for the Phillips building? Motion by Ms. Cobb,
I'll second.
second by Ms. Brock. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passed. 8C is to approve the revised schematic plan for the Phillips building.
Okay, that is the piece that we presented, so.
Any questions? Can I have a motion to approve the revised schematic plan for the Phillips building renovation?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Ms. Burford. Can I have a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Cole. All those in favor? Moving on to 8D, to approve the change order number 1 to PO 49168.
Yeah, 8D, and then I'll go ahead and make reference to 8E there, approve the other change order. What we have is we had the vendor for the flooring on the, at Clark Moore's was unable to provide the product, so we're just voiding out one PO, and we're going to do a change order back to the vendor, and they'll choose, back to the contractor, and they will choose another vendor. The cost on that change order is going to be a net zero. They're going to get the product from someone else. They just haven't finalized that piece yet, but that's all we're doing here. It's $35,000 out, $35,000 in, and then it'll be a net zero.
Can I have a motion to approve the change order number 1 to purchase order 49168 for a credit of $35,000?
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Brock. Can I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Ms. Burford. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passed. Then 8E is to approve the change order number 1 to Rising Sun General Contractor. To approve change order number 1 to, can I have a motion to approve the change order number 1 to Rising Sun contract to add $35,000 for the Clark Moore's Middle School project? And this is just adding that $35,000 that we just changed from 8D. Motion by Ms. Cole, second by Ms. Cobb. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. Moving on to 8F is to approve the contract for a steel building for Madison Southern.
Okay, so we, the board approved the activity building last month, so we put proposals out, RFP out for the steel package on that, so we can get that processed. And we had 2 companies reply back. One was Steelmaster with a price of $194,400, and then Power Built Steel Buildings with a price of $118,685. So we'd recommend that the board approve the Power Built for $118,685 and approve that contract to go ahead and get that processed.
Can I have a motion to approve and award the contract for the steel building at Madison Southern High School to Power Built Steel Buildings Incorporated?
I'll second.
Motion by Ms. Cobb, second by Brock. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. 8G is to create and ratify a one paraeducator at Silver Creek. I think Silver Creek is going to use their ESS funds to pay for this position.
Correct. Mhm.
So can I have a motion to create and ratify a one paraeducator at Silver Creek Elementary School?
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Brock, can I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Ms. Burford. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passed. 8H is to create and ratify a one teacher at Madison Southern High School. Madison Southern is going to use some of their Section 6 funding to pay for this position. Any questions? Can I have a motion to create and ratify a one teacher position at Madison Southern High School?
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Cole, second by Ms. Cobb. All those in favor?
Aye.
Oh, but you did. I'm sorry.
No,
I did, she did.
Oh,
you're right.
okay.
You're good.
8I, create and ratify a music teacher position at Madison Southern High School. Any questions?
Is that adding another teacher? I mean,
Yeah.
she was on leave.
So here's what we've got. The Madison Southern, you can see there's three, and then actually another little spot down there. They've had some staff shift around. We do, with the allocation piece, that specific thing will be an additional teacher, but we didn't start out the year with it. So when we adjust those allocations at the beginning of the year, based off of the staff, then if we make any changes after that, then that's when we bring it to the board for creation. So we had 2 or 3 spots there. The one that they paid for, they'd paid for it previously, but so far this year they had not. So now they're going to pick that one up. We provide the music teacher then, and then they're moving some other folks around. So it's really kind of shifting the
Who's paying for what?
who's paying for what. At the end of the year, then we've got allocations coming up in another month, planning for next year. Then we'll readjust everything. This year was just kind of an odd year with the virtual piece and some of the staff, offering some virtual sections at the high school level. So it's really, it looks like quite a bit of moving around. It's really just mid-year adjustments. And part of it is because they have had a couple of staff changes there. They had a couple of resignations, and they had a teacher that went from Madison Southern to Madison Central. And so when you start to filter all of that out in order to post the positions as appropriate, we have some adjustment there. Yeah.
Any other questions? Can I have a motion to create, ratify a music teacher position at Madison Southern High School? Motion by Ms. Cobb. Can I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Ms. Brock. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passed. 8J is to create and ratify a site manager at Madison Southern High School. Southern is going to use their Section 6 funds to pay for this for $1,250. I think we did this similar thing to Madison Central a
Yes.
few months ago.
Yeah.
Any questions? Can I have a motion to create and ratify a site manager at Madison Southern High School?
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Brock. Can I have a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Cole. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passed. 8K is to create and ratify a .3 football coach at Madison Southern High School for the remainder of the school year. This position will be paid from using their extra service increments and the balance paid from school activity funds.
Yes.
Anybody got any questions? Does this have to do with the new football coach?
Yes, they do have hired a new football coach coming in from out of the district, and they want to be able to go ahead and get him started with some, with spring practice, because we have spring practice season and everything. And most of this, actually, the net cost is going to be very little from them directly, because they do have some increments that they didn't use, some other football or other coaching positions that were out there that had not been filled and we had not paid, so they're going to take a couple of those, attribute those to this payment, and be able to pay a coach for the services second half of the year.
Can I have a motion to create and ratify a .3 football coach position for the remainder of the 21-22 school year at Madison Southern High School as presented? Motion by Ms. Cobb. Can I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Ms. Brock. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passed. 8L is create and ratify an account clerk position. This position will be paid off of the secretary pay scale and will include a bookkeeper increment. Got anything to say on that, Dr. Gilliam?
No, well, just a couple of things. I mean, it's pretty straightforward there, but this would be, an additional position. However, we do have some folks on leave and some other things right now. So the net currently for the current school year would be nothing.
I
And
would-
it's a permanent position that would be,
It is a permanent position, so we'll have to make some adjustment moving forward, but it will be either be an increase or it would be, we'd have to do some other things, yeah.
Can I have a motion to create and ratify an account clerk position at central office and approve the bookkeeper increment that accompanies the new position?
so moved.
Motion by Ms. Cool. Can I have a second?
I'll s-
Second by Ms. Brock. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Agenda item 8M is to approve the 2022-2024 Frisky School District assurances. Any questions? Anything to say on that, Dr. Gilliam?
No, that's our Family Resource Youth Service Centers. We have to agree to our assurances in order to receive the state funding for those centers. So that's all that is. Routine, very routine.
Can I have a motion to approve the 2022-2024 Family Resource and Youth Service Centers School District assurances as presented?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Ms. Burford. Can I have a second? Second by Ms. Cobb. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Number 8N is to approve the furniture purchase for Ignite Academy South.
Yeah.
Pretty much like we did a couple meetings ago for the North Campus.
Yes, it's roughly the same. We're buying a little more furniture. Well, let me say it like this. We're buying about the same amount. At the North Campus is a little larger, has more rooms, but we're also, at that campus, we're moving some of the furniture that already exists at the current ATC over. On at the South Campus, the cost, I think total cost is just a little less, but we don't have any furniture to move in, fewer rooms, but still net number of rooms that we're trying to furnish is about the same. So yes, very, very similar purchase.
Can I have a motion to approve the furniture purchase for the Madison County Ignite Academy South Campus as presented? Motion by Ms. Cobb, second by Ms. Cool. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passed. Number 9 is the superintendent's report. Dr. Gillum?
All right, well, thank you very much. So to start off with, folks might notice that tonight's meeting was posted as a special meeting, and that's because it's the first meeting of the calendar year. Just want to make sure everybody knows that. Notice that on our consent agenda has the approval of the board schedule for 2022. So now that the board has approved those meeting dates, any meeting moving forward will be a regular meeting, not a special meeting. So I just wanted to point that out. And the law does require that boards organize each calendar year, and we did that. We took care of that at the beginning of the meeting there. And so I would like to, with that in mind, say thank you very much to our former chair, Ms. Lori Cobb. We appreciate your service for the past year. You've done a wonderful job, and congratulations to Mr. Rutherford there as he comes on as our new board chair. And I just also want to mention how much I appreciate the board working together. As we look at the organization, the collaborative attitude that you all embrace regarding that. All of you want to do the very best for our students, for our staff, for our community, and that shows. And this is obviously our board recognition month, and I just want to say how much I appreciate the things that you all do for our students, for our community, for our school district. So thank you very much. So other items on the report itself, since our December meeting, a couple of things that I've done, met with the I want to thank the Richmond Exchange Club, actually, for allowing me to speak to them on December the 13th and share the work that we're doing as a district. On December 15th, I met with Bluegrass Tomorrow Group at Transylvania University, which is a group of business people in central Kentucky, as well as that afternoon, we met with college presidents from throughout the region. So it's from our KCTS system with our folks from Bluegrass Community Technical College, Somerset Community College, Georgetown University, Transylvania, as well as EKU, Moorhead, UK, all had representatives there. And basically what we were talking about was ways to improve workforce development in central Kentucky and also increase post-secondary opportunities for our students. So good work there, and we appreciate the support of them and also from Bluegrass Tomorrow. As an update, we mentioned our ATC and the new Ignite Academy. I have submitted the request to the Commissioner of Education for the management and control of Kentucky Tech. We're awaiting their response and next steps, but that should be coming soon. In the meantime, I want you to know that I have met with the staff at Kentucky Tech, and we talked about the changes that would be coming. They had some questions. I answered those questions, and we certainly want the best for those folks. They will continue on as Madison County employees rather than Kentucky Tech or state employees. So other than that, the 2022 legislative session of the Kentucky General Assembly is underway. I do serve on the KASS and KASA legislative committees, and yesterday I was in Frankfurt for just a little while, meeting with some legislators on pending legislation, trying to advocate for on behalf of our students and our community and our school district. So, as we look at that, we have some bills already running through that process, lots of stuff moving, but we also have to realize this is a long session, it's a budget session, and we're a long way away from April, so a lot of things can always be interesting as we go through this legislative session. So, but that is my superintendent's report.
Next on the agenda is comments from the board.
Other than I appreciate Mrs. Cobb's year of service and all that she's done for us. You've led well.
It is? All right. Next up is, can I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll second.
Motion by Ms. Cobb, second by Ms. Brock. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passed. I made it.